the channel. Today I will be doing a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K rig breakdown. Basically this is how I rig my camera for the most part every single time except for when I'm running on a gimbal. So I'm going to show you that in a moment. So stay watching. Alright guys, so before I get into the rig breakdown, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Denny and I am a cinematographer here in Kingston, Jamaica, and I run a video production company. And on this channel we talk about everything filmmaking. We do lighting tutorials, gear reviews, and filmmaking tips and tricks to help you level up your videography, cinematography skills. So if that's something that you like, stay tuned. Alright, so I'm gonna show you guys my rig. This is basically my setup for like every day, not every day, but every single time I do a production. This is basically the rig that I use most of the time, like maybe like 90% of the time, except when I'm on a gimbal. So let me show it to you. Boom. Alright, so this is my Pocket 6K rig, and yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of accessories and stuff like that that I pretty much like, and you know, it has a good weight to it, and I'll talk about that a little bit further down when I'm rigging out the camera. But yeah, I'm gonna start kind of from scratch. I won't break it all the way down without a cage and everything, because that's gonna take a lot of time. But I'm gonna break it down for you guys and then put it back together so that you can see how I put it together and how I rig the different parts and why I rig this that way and stuff like that. So let's de-rig it. 3, 2, and all right. So everything is de-rig now. So now I'm gonna put everything together and kind of explain what is what and what I use it for and stuff like that. Yeah, so I guess we can start with the base plate, like the build it from ground up. So base plate I have is a small rig base plate, and I like this one because it's somewhat of a quick release system. I like the lock on the side. That is just easy to just lock in the camera and stuff. And it also gives a little bit of height between the tripod and the camera, and then the rails. So let's start with that. And this is a small rig bridge plate that I got. The reason why I got this one, I think it can also fit in a Akana tripod, which is like a really expensive tripod that you'll probably find on a film set, like Hollywood movies and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a bridge plate. I think it's about 12 inches long, and it has some weight on it, so that helps, and I'll explain that a little bit further down in the video. I also bought a tripod plate from Small Rig. It's a very long tripod plate. This is probably about 8 inches long, I believe. The reason why I got this is because of the length of the tripod plate. It's a 501 plate, so it's compatible with a lot of tripods that have a 501 plate head. And so yeah, it has a good distance, and the reason why I wanted that is because when I'm not using this bridge plate, I can easily slide my camera forward and backwards on a tripod that doesn't have an adjustable plate, and so I can easily slide forward and back with some amount of leeway. And then you can also adjust the screws in the back here at the bottom, so you can basically slide and adjust the camera position as well on the plate itself ahead of time. So this is the small rig bridge plate, and then this goes on top. You just slide it in with the grooves like that, and then you just want to make sure that that is tightened down and everything is pretty much set in your position. And then these are small rig plates. Excuse me. Sorry, these are small rig rails, 15 millimeter rod rails, and these go right in here like that. And you just tighten that in. You want to make sure, you want to make sure that they are even. And I really like these rails because of the material. It's metal, and you know, I had some carbon fiber ones before, but they kind of flex when you're using like a follow focus motor, which I'll get to, which is over here, the tilter nucleus. So it kind of flexes. I don't really like that, so I went with the metal rods. All right, so next thing, I couldn't get the top handle off because it's so, oh my goodness, like I really tightened that one down. Let me see if I can get it off. Boom. All right, so that comes off like that. So this top handle is also from Small Rig, and I like this one because it has a good handle grip, and because it's also NATO rails, like you can slide it on to NATO rails. And this cage is also from Small Rig. I have a lot of Small Rig parts, so this is from Small Rig, and it also has a NATO rail at the top here that you can easily slide gadgets on, like a top handle. And so, you know, that's pretty much how the top handle goes on. Slide it on, and then you tighten that down. You want to make sure it's tight so that your camera doesn't go flying when you pick it up. All right, and then one of the things that I like about the top handle as well is because it has so many mounting points, you know, quarter and eighth mounting points, and it has a array locking pin here that you can mount a monitor mount to, and then it has a 15 millimeter rod hole right here so that you can put a rod through there if you wanted to mount something like a EVF that I don't have right now. Maybe in the future I'll get one, I'm not too sure. But yeah, so this comes with the Small Rig base plate, and I'll link everything down in the comments so that you guys can have easy access to them if you need to purchase them. Highly recommend this base plate. And then this just goes right into there like that, and it's locked and secure. One of the features that I like about this base plate is that it has this anti-sliding mechanism, so once it's in there, if you forget to lock it, it won't go anywhere unless you squeeze this release button here, and then you can release the camera. So great feature. By the way, I'm not sponsored by Small Rig, so, but Small Rig, if you are watching this and you want to send me some nice gadgets for my rig, I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. As you can see, I made a lot of investment into your company, and I love you guys. So that's it. That's the setup right now with the bridge plate, rails, base plates. So that is the setup right now. I also have this little 15 millimeter rod holder here that I screwed on the top, which I couldn't, you know, be bothered to take off. I'll show you why I put that there in just a moment. So let's continue. I want to go ahead and put this lens on. So this is the Sigma 18-35 lens. Really love this lens. Obviously it's one of the best lenses you can get that is great for run and gun projects, and it gives you a good range between 18 millimeters to 35 millimeters, and you know, you get a really wide angle view, and then you get a medium telephoto, you know, equivalent focal length at 35 millimeters, which gives you some really nice out of focus backgrounds. It's a very sharp lens, so that's great. And for me, I like to use a pro mist on the front of this lens because it's so sharp. So I want to get the digital edge off of the lens because it's incredibly sharp. So I use the Tiffin Pro Mist 1/8 version. I think the quarter is a little bit too much, so I don't really use it anymore. I prefer the 1/8 strength. And then if I can get maybe like black satin or some other types, Hollywood Blackmagic, then I'll use those as well in the 4x5 versions. And if you don't know what that is, it's just a square filter. Maybe I'll throw some B-roll up of what that looks like. So let's go ahead and attach the lens. You want to make sure that you line up the red dots. Boom. There we have it. Looking good so far, looking good so far. I think the next thing I want to add right now is the Tilta V-mount battery plate. I love this plate because it has so many different DTAP ports. The only thing I don't like about this is I have no idea why Tilta did this thing where the rods don't go all the way through the back of the plate. Like, it makes no sense. Tilta, could you please make a adapting, system that screws onto the back of this but raises it up, by maybe a quarter of an inch or an inch or something, so that the rods could go all the way through the back without bumping on the actual back of the plates. It makes no sense. But great purchase, and it also has like SDI in and out, 2 outs as a matter of fact, so you could technically pass through a signal from your camera, through this plate. I haven't tested it yet, so I don't even know if it works, but one day I will. But that's a great feature if it works. So you go ahead, lock that in. And right now I'm gonna adjust the camera because it's way too far away from the plate. I don't really like it that way. And it's so easy to adjust this thing, man. It's like, wait, wrong thing. So I want to adjust the rods. So I'll loosen these and then push this forward. And that's about enough space because you want to leave space for the matte box that's gonna go on the end of this. I think I could actually get a little bit more room just in case. All right, perfect. All right, so that's where we're at so far. What else? What next? Okay, so before I put on the matte box, I like to put my handles on. So these handles are from Small Rig as well. No surprises there. So this handle, I like operating, with the camera with handles, whether you want to do like a shoulder rig and, you have the camera on your shoulder like that, and then you have the handles out. That works so well. And then if you want to go lower and you want to, do this and operate the camera like that, you could do that as well. But let me throw this on here, and that goes on the rails like that easily. Lock it in place so that it doesn't move. And then these are flexible, so you could kind of fix it in whatever position that you want. You can also change the orientation from here if you want. You could put the next handle to match the front, and you could essentially hold it like this, but this is kind of comfortable for me and I like operating like that. All right, so we have the handles on. The next thing I'm going to put on now is the matte box. So this matte box is from Wooden Camera. The lid is over there. I'll show you in just a minute, but this is from Wooden Camera. This is the zip the Zipbox Pro, I believe. The not the clamp-on version, but you can change out the back, so you can remove this whole section here. You can remove this section, and then place a back that allows you to clamp the matte box onto your lens, and then you'll have to purchase the different sizes of the backs, which is very pricey. So depending on the lens that you have and the size of the front diameter of the lens, you'll have to purchase the relevant back for that lens. So I went with the swing away version of this matte box, and this just mounts to the 15mm rod rails like so. Boom. Tying that down. And this matte box is kind of pricey, I'm not gonna lie, and but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. So it's very durable. The next thing I like about this matte box is that it has 2 stages, and I'll probably do a review on this, but it's a 2-stage matte box. What that means is it can take 2 filters in the front, whether it's ND or you want to use a diffusion filter like the 4x5 that I mentioned before. 4x5 diffusion filter like a Pro Mist or Black Satin, etc., etc. And then you can do 2 NDs. You can stack NDs, neutral density filters. That's what it means. And I'll do a video on that too if you want me to. Let me know in the comments. And yeah, so that's the matte box with the setup so far. And that houses my NDs when I'm not using circular NDs. And I think I have one over there. I'll show it to you in just a moment. So I'll talk about that in a second. Briefly, I'll do a whole video on NDs as well, because it's very important to know as a filmmaker. Next thing, monitor. Actually, before that, I'm gonna mount this. This is a lens. It's a lens support. So this thing helps to support heavier lenses, and this lens isn't that heavy. But I'll chuck it on the rig anyway, because sometimes, you know, lenses like this, like these, what this helps to do is also reduce the amount of shake that you have in the mount of the camera. So these mounts aren't really that strong, the actual mount here that the lens attaches to, and so sometimes you get a little bit of play and shake in it, especially when you're using the wireless follow focus system like this one, and I'll talk about that in a second, obviously. But yeah, you want to reduce that shakiness, so this helps to keep the lens in place. And then that easily goes in there like so. Cool. And that's attached, and it will support the lens. I think, yeah, it will support the lens and do its job. All right, so the next thing I want to put on is my monitor. So I got these arms, these articulating arms on Amazon. They basically connect to any device that you want that has a 1/4 thread on the bottom of it. And this just basically, you know, allows you to put things in different places and, you know, articulate the arm so that you can, you know, flex things. So I mount this on the top handle right here. The reason why I went with this is the flexibility of the mount of, you know, as you can see, putting my monitor in any position that I want to. If I want to view something and I have the camera like this, I can do that. And if it's a low shot and I need to, you know, look down on the monitor, I can do that. You want to make sure everything is tight, and so that it doesn't go loose. And so yeah, that's how I mount that. And then also this thing, let me just talk about this really quickly. This is the Hollyland transmitter and receiver, so basically wireless. So this basically transmit the signal of the video from my camera to a first assistant camera, which is their job is to pull focus. Sometimes I can also send that same signal to Video Village, where the director is and the producers and client is, so that they can watch whatever I'm filming wirelessly, in their little space, and they can discuss among themselves what they like, what they don't like. And yeah, this allows me to do that. So you can check it out. I'll definitely link it down below. I think they do have newer versions, so I will add those versions, which I think is a little bit better. This one is outdated. This is the Mars 400. And so, yeah, I think, yeah, I wouldn't purchase this one. They do have better ones right now. But still great value. It has two HDMI, it has a HDMI in and out on the receiver, and then the transmitter as well also has a loop out. So you can share two outs to different devices, essentially. So that's that. That's how I mount that. And the rod. So this extra 15mm rod, which is about 8 inches, this one goes on top of the camera here. It goes into this slot over here. And this one, I mounted this here so that I can mount my wireless focus motor, so that my first AC can pull focus for me when I'm shooting certain projects. Certain projects I won't have an AC. Some projects that's what it means, assistant camera AC. And some projects I will. So this is the Nucleus Nano. Sorry, the Nucleus M. And this is the upgraded version from the Nano. And it basically allows you to, wirelessly focus. So this motor goes up here, and I'll show you this swing array feature from the map box. Boom, just like that. You just open the map box and you can mount your accessories easily. Perfect. And what I like about the Tilta Nucleus M is how you can mount it. So you can mount it like this, and you can also change the orientation by fully removing this and putting it here and locking that into place if you need to mount it in a different orientation. So if I wanted it to go on the rails like this, I could do that if I wanted to. Can you see that? Yeah. So if I wanted to mount it on the rails like that, I could. I just prefer it being on top. And so let me just mount that now and show you guys. Let's get the monitor out of the way for the top down angle. So this goes on to this like so. All right, and that mounts like that. Should have probably put the monitor on last or something, but anyways, close that up and tighten it, lock that in. All right, so looking good so far. And the next thing I want to do is to start adding my cables. All right, so before I start adding the cables, I want to talk about this little thingamajig here that I have in my hand right now. It's called Sprig. Let me see if this one will focus. So this is called Sprig, and essentially this little thing allows you to it helps with cable management. That's literally what it does. It helps with cable management. So I have a bunch of them here on the side of the camera. They basically go in the quarter holes that we have on the camera that helps to rig stuff. And this helps to keep the cables, intact and have a neat setup. So that goes into here like so. I'm also not sponsored by Sprig, but I just love the idea of Sprig, and it just helps make a cleaner rig. So looking good so far. So the next thing I want to do now is starting to add these cables. So the first cable I'm going to add is actually the power cable for the tilter. And this now, I kind of rig it in a specific way. I run it like so, and I kind of use this bongo tie to hold it in place. The bongo tie helps, just to kind of hold it in place so that the cable doesn't, move around a lot. And so this goes this way. So you can see from the top down. So this goes like that, comes around here, and it goes into the D-tap port on the side of the camera right there. Woo! See the importance of locking in your stuff, man. Can't have accidents. Alright, cool. So that goes there, and then we use the sprig to control the cabling. So you want, I lock it in like that. Yeah, and that holds it in place. And then take this and get into the motor. All right, that goes into the motor. And then I use the bongo tie to tie this down so that it doesn't move. No flexing. Cool. Perfect. All right, so getting there. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is to add the power cable. This is the power cable for the pocket, and so yeah, it powers the camera. And this one is a D-tap to, I think this is somewhat of it's a 2-pin, so it's a D-tap to 2-pin cable. And you wanna put this here like that, bring it around, and then I have these cable ties which are Velcro cable ties. There's some other ones that my virgin Randy had introduced me to, which is very cool. They're like flexible rods, so I'm gonna probably switch over to those, and because I like them. I like how they work. These are Velcro, so they don't really last long, so I wouldn't recommend them per se. So I'll, whenever I get those, I'll put a link in the description below so that you can also get those. All right, so this goes down here, and goes into the side of the pocket like that. And then I use the sprig to keep a little bit of neatness to the rig. So I use to make sure that everything is tight and not going anywhere. The next thing I want to add is my HDMI cable to send the signal from the camera to the monitor so that I can see what I'm filming. So this, I have these cable ties which are Ziploc ties, but they are the ones that are reversible, so you can add them, but you can also remove them easily, so they're not like permanently locked in. So I use those to kind of add a little bit more cable management, and I pre-did this, so I'm gonna put this in the HDMI port. And to be honest, I really prefer I prefer SDI cables all day. I don't have any with me right now, but you know, the pocket cameras only have HDMI output, and then this goes into my monitor, and my monitor is from DeathView. Great company, great monitor. I'll do a review on the monitor at another time, but really nice monitor. It's 1000 nits, so it's really bright and you can see it outside. When you're filming outside, it's really good. It's bright. It really gets the job done. So I'm just, you know, doing my cable management, making sure that everything is tight. Not tight, but everything is good and neat, because I do like a neat setup. I don't like when I have too many cables hanging all around and just in the way. So that's pretty much how I rig the cables for the most part. I don't like rigging them like that too, because like the bending and over time it goes bad. So be careful of how you do those cables, how you bend them into shape, because they can go bad. But these are really cheap, and I haven't had one of them go bad on me, so I'll link these in the description. And it's a good length, so it's not too long and it's not too short, so it's a decent length. So when I need to flex the monitor and kind of turn it around, so if I'm showing a client something, I can turn it around like that, and it still has a little bit of play. So that's great. And then this now, sometimes I use one of these barrel power cables to power my transmitter, and sometimes I use an NPF battery, just slap one on the back to power this. But you know, you can power it with these, it's fine. And then this is my V-mount battery. This V-mount battery is a 195 watt, sorry, a 150 watt hour battery, and it's from Juicebox. Love these batteries. They power the camera for a very long time. And yeah, this just goes right on the plate like that. And then the last thing I'm gonna add is the cable for the Hollyland transmitter, which goes down here like that, and then it just goes into this like that. Simple. Sometimes I like to run the cable on the other side, so it's a bit more like, you know, organized. So I run it on this side of the battery plate, bring it around like that, and then plug it in. However you want to do it, you can. Like this now, it gets in the way of the button sometimes, so that's one thing that I have to think about. So yeah, but that's the rig, guys. This is how I build out my pocket camera, my 6K, and yeah, I think the only thing that I didn't mention is these gears on the camera, right, on the lens. So basically, this thing right here on the lens, it helps. Let me see if I can show you this right here. It's gear pitches so that the focus motor can hook on here and turn the lens so that you can focus wirelessly. Without that, I'd need something like this that I have on the zoom rocker, which is basically it's like this thing that you can just strap on. It's the same thing at the front, however you can strap this on and tighten it, and then you have the same gear pitches, which is industry standard pitches, 0.8, that allows you to focus properly, and the gear and the teeth of the focus motor won't jump off or anything like that. It can still, but it just depends on how you position the motor. But yeah, guys, so that's my rig. Really in love with this rig, and love shooting with it. And the reason why I have so many bells and whistles on it is because of the way I shoot. You know what I mean? So when you're rigging out your camera, or you're looking to rig out your camera, keep in mind that you have to rig your camera to how you want it to function. I like how this functions, especially in handheld mode. So it's quite easy to maneuver and them things there. One day I'll upgrade to a different camera, but right now this Pocket 6K is a great camera, great choice, bang for buck, at $2,000 essentially. And with all of these things, when I'm doing handheld work, because of the weight, it helps to reduce those micro jitters that you'll see when you're holding just a regular DSLR body and you get that shake. With the weight, it helps to reduce that, so you get a smoother, more natural handheld feeling. So I like the weight of the camera. I'd say it maybe is around 12 pounds, probably, rigged out like this, fully rigged out. And yeah, it just feels good in the hand. It feels good when I'm operating. Sometimes I'll use an easy rig or not, depending on the job and if the budget can cover that. But yeah, I love doing handheld work with this setup, and it works great for run and gun type of filmmaking. So that's it, guys. I hope you like the breakdown, and I will see you in another video. I'll also remember to leave the links down below so that you guys can check out the different parts and accessories, and probably purchase them. I may get a kickback from the Amazon affiliate program, so keep that in mind, and really it goes to support the channel and the content that I'm creating for you guys. So really appreciate it. Help out a youth in the struggle. And yeah, let me know if you like the rig and the parts, and if you have any questions about the rig, let me know in the comments and I'll address it there. And I will follow up with another video on some of the other parts individually, like the Holyland and my suggestions, the alternatives, the depth view, also the monitor. There are some alternatives that do have some new ones out, so I can make some suggestions on that. So if you have any questions, guys, just let me know in the comments, all right, and I'll address it. So give thanks for everything, and please, if you found some value in this video, feel free to subscribe, like the video, share it with somebody, and yeah, man, tell your friends that come up with better visuals to learn some filmmaking and to get some tips and tricks about filmmaking and the whole process and lighting tutorials, the whole 9 yards. All right, that's it. Peace.